Hi there. I'm back up in the Olympics again, Olympic National Forest, and again the upper Dungeness trailhead. It seems to be my favorite hunt. And we had a lot of rain here in the Pacific Northwest, which was great. It washed all that smoke and haze out, and these rivers blew out. But right now I'm up at Royal Creek, which just down below where I am at this present point dumps into the Dungeness River. So I'm quite a ways up above the fork, and there's a bridge that cuts over the upper Dungeness Trail over the Dungeness, or actually Royal Creek, and then into the Buckhorn Wilderness. So I'm up above that, and I decided to get the waders on again today and just hike the creek all the way up, and I'm glad I did. I got this nice set of falls. Usually the trail skirts up above. It actually comes up along Royal Creek for a while, but then there's switchbacks that take you up higher, and so you miss all of this. So hence the waders today, and just hike on up here, and I'm glad I did. Smoke from the south, California, wildfires, the last couple days has moved in, I think off the Pacific and then inland. So there's still quite a bit of haze in the atmosphere, but I'm hoping as the morning progresses, some of that golden sunlight might come down and hit the water here. So just foraging around, stomping around in the creek where I love to be. The weather has been phenomenal. It's been quite warm and high humidity. The atmosphere has kept that smoke in and kept it quite warm lately. So no change in the forecast both today. This is midweek. Actually, it's October 1st. So midweek toward the weekend, quite nice, and no rain in the forecast. So perfect time to get out. I was up here, left the trailhead at dark, basically. So as I walked on up the trail, it gradually started getting light. So early morning now on the creek. As I was walking up the creek from quite a ways down there, there's several sets of falls, but I think this is my stopping point. I like this composition here. Quite a nice stack of falls here in the distance, and it drops down and right into this big pool here, which is quite nice. So I set up my tripod here and my camera and just shot up in there. And I did shoot from down below as well to capture this nice bluish green hole right here. I shot these falls here quite a while. In the past, coming up the trail, I've often come down off the trail here and looked at this pool, and in the summer it's just brilliant blue. The water's been high, so it's just a bit murky, but still it's a nice green with a tint of blue to it. So from this distance I shot in, and then I actually walked up the bank and then back down around and set up right there in the pool and shot up toward those falls there in the distance. I did set up just a few feet back behind some boulders behind me, and shot this fall off, this runoff here in the foreground, and that in the background. And I was thinking potentially conversion to black and white. I'll know better when I get back on the computer, but I do like the wet rock, and especially up there, that first set of runoff, the shiny black wet rock might look pretty nice. We had a good break from all that smoke in the atmosphere. And some good rain came, blow everything out. But even though the weather's been real nice here in Washington, western Washington, the smoke from California has come up north. I guess it settled over the Pacific and now has settled in over western Washington. So giving everything a kind of a red haze to it. I just try to take advantage of it. Just keep wandering up the creek bed, and there's just countless little runoffs here, small little falls, and I like when it drops in and creates these nice greenish pools here. So just taking my time, looking for some composition, and so far so good. There's a nice breeze in the forest today, and being cooped up as I am during my work week, it's nice to get out here, get this fresh mountain air, and of course the negative ions coming off the creek here in the water. Real nice. Royal Creek is just full of drop-offs like this, and miniature falls. I love this little creek. I know where it's born, and that's Royal Basin, hence the name Royal Creek. And of course it's one of my favorite haunts up there, and that's in the National Park. The Royal Creek comes down through the National Forest from Upper Basin, and then it merges with the Dungeness down below. Shot this many times in the past. The switchback to the trail begins right here, and so you leave the creek at this point. So that's why today with the waders I wanted to put in here and just make my way upstream, and I'm glad I did. I found that set of falls, but again, I've shot this many times in the past. I come back down Royal Creek, came up, hit the trail, and I wasn't that far up really. And so here's the bridge, cross over Royal Creek into the Buckhorn Wilderness, and in the distance is the Dungeness. And so the confluence is just down below here. So what I think I'm going to do with the time remaining is head up, cut over to the Dungeness, and then wade down. I've never done that before, but maybe I can see the fork or the confluence of Royal Creek in the Dungeness, so I'll give it a go. I'm at the confluence here of Royal Creek and the Dungeness, and there's campgrounds and all that behind me. I've just never taken the time to exit the trail and to come on down here. Basically it's just a log jam, Dungeness and Royal Creek. So I thought maybe there'd be a little composition here at the confluence, but really nothing. So I'll go back up to the Dungeness and wander upstream. Wandering up the Dungeness now and going up the river. I'm glad the flow is quite low. Again, it's been dry for quite a while since the last rain we had. So looking for some composition. Time is slipping away, so hopefully I'll come across something that's not up here, upstream a bit. Well, that's a wrap for today. It's just after 10, and I was just going to spend a few hours this morning anyway. So I ended up walking up, like I said, the Dungeness with my waders, and really didn't find much. I took a few shots. Actually, last week, my last vlog, I wandered up the Dungeness with the lower area, and I actually found more aesthetics, more composition then. So not much up here, but I got what I came to get, and that's up Royal Creek, so I'm delighted with that. So that's about it. I've been turned on to Polar Pro products, and I've got some ND filters thus far, but I picked up this Apex, nice, handy, solid tripod, and great for my pack. And it has, of course, adjustable legs here with nice solid locks and a ball head, and it's, I think, more designed for mirrorless and lighter cameras. And of course I'm packing around a Canon 6D with a big Sigma lens on it. So, but I used it up Royal Creek where I wanted to get low and get on some boulders, and it worked just great. Pretty actually very solid. So I'm impressed, and I'm glad I picked this up. Little Polar Pro Apex, and I've become addicted to Polar Pro products. So I think my ND lenses are going to be coming from there as well. The ball head on this loosen up like so, swivels, and you can adjust your ball right there, and then lock it down. And I've switched out between my tripod, my other tripod, and this, my mount for my camera, and this just pops right off. Screw it onto my Canon, pop it in there. I get the screw in, pop it in there, and then lock it down. So it's real sturdy, and though my Canon was real heavy, it worked just fine. So that's a wrap. October 1st, and no better way for me to spend it anyway. So I was anticipating fall colors, but the climate has been so dry with all of the smoke and the haze and a real hot, dry summer that basically the foliage here in the Pacific Northwest that I've seen is just shriveled and dried out. So I thought maybe today I'd run into some foliage that would be a little more spectacular, but really not much. Again, it seems like the spring and the summer has just kind of been a blur with all things considered. So things have been quite dry. But as far as October goes, I'll just keep looking for some color. I don't know what will be next, but I'm sure I'll get something in my mind that'll haunt me, and then off I go again. See you later.